Welcome to Beyond the Cards. I'm Allison DiNicola, and it is my extreme pleasure to have the amazing Pamela Chen here with me today. Yay!
Allison, hi everyone.
Welcome, Pam. So great to have you. And so I'm just going to read a little bit that you shared about yourself, and then we can talk Caticorn and other things. So. Pam is a spiritual business coach, author, and deck creator with Llewellyn, US Games, and Hay House. So she spread her talent across the publishing houses. She has published Witchling Academy Tarot, Enchanted Crystal Magic, Tarot of the Owls. I spotted that the other day at my
Oh,
girlfriend's house.
yay.
The Mandarin Tree, Caticorn, that we'll be speaking about today, Steampunk Fairy Tarot, and has Galactic Star Tarot coming out January of 2025. I look forward to that. She is also the co-founder of the Academy with her business partner Alexandra, and they train the next generation spiritual teachers, coaches, and healers in multi-dimensional energetic modalities. We'll get to talk about that too, because that
Okay.
you're speaking my language now. Yeah. So anyhow, so wow, there's a lot of stuff happening, but let's just dial back and go back to like, how did your spiritual journey begin? Because everyone's always curious to hear each other's, kind of unfoldment. So
Yeah.
how did that happen for you?
So when I was growing up, my mom and grandma, everybody was Buddhist. So I think being Buddhist, they are more open, and I grew up in Taiwan. So it was a lot of, superstitions, and you see ghosts and all this. And so I was very open. Actually, one of our family members was up in a plane, and they took with like a regular camera back then, and they took a picture. And when they printed, had the pictures up, there was like a Buddha. So they think it's Kuan Yin. And so we have like
Oh,
this black
wow.
and white. The only picture that showed up was that picture out of everything in the film. And so I think ever since I was little, I knew there was something greater, like source or bigger energies that's like watching out for us. So I think that allowed me to be more open. And I started getting to, I believe it was like astrology and tarot when I was
Okay.
around 16. And tarot actually was really hard. There was no online
Mhm.
stuff. And so you just had to read from books, and it was really hard for me. I didn't understand it. So I came back to it later. When I was about 18, 17, 18, I moved out, and I was really curious about my future, right? Because back then I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't know what I was doing. And so I went to a lot of psychics. And I just went psychic, psychic, psychic. And one psychic was my first magical mentor. She taught us how to meditate. She taught us how to do spells, a money spell that actually came true. And so I really believed then. And I kind of, life happened, and it wasn't until I moved to Las Vegas from Hawaii when I was 20, I went to this holistic fair. I just had to go by myself. And there were these women around these crystal bracelets, and they were feeling it, and they were like, the energies feel so great. So I grabbed one, and I'm like, what energy? I couldn't feel it, but I was like, I want to experience it.
Mhm.
And so I actually met my first Reiki teacher and psychic development teacher and tarot teacher, and she was like, you need to work with me, not in a creepy way, but I was like,
Mhm.
yes, I will. And so I started with Reiki, and then from there I just took like everything possible, all of the energetics. I took so much energetic modality certification, so it's crazy.
Wow. So I just want to say, so you moved from Taiwan to Hawaii.
Yeah.
So that wasn't a bad move, right? To move
Yeah.
to Hawaii, mainland Hawaii, that's where you were living, like
Yeah,
Honolulu kind of
Oahu,
thing.
Honolulu. Yeah, the
Hmm.
main island. Yes.
And then to Las Vegas, and that's really where the things got going, really
Yes.
got started.
Yeah, I think Las
Yeah.
Vegas is really powerful. I think there is a ley line directly on the strip, and actually connects to Luxor, which is the pyramid. It has the same dimensions.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I've been to Vegas, dozens of times
Yeah.
for work related things, and it's such a duality place where you're just
Right.
like, there's that, the Vegas duality where you're like, I don't know how much of that I can take. But then there's other things, and then when you get even out of the town there and you get out into the wilderness it's really like kind of energetic. I wouldn't even be surprised if there were like a lot of off-planet things happening there, or that kind of stuff. So it's very interesting. So okay, so you landed in Vegas, and so what's really cool about what you're telling is that I think a lot of people have that same familiarity with, there's one thing that just is like, I need to learn more about this, and it just drives you, and you just don't even know why. And I honestly think at this point in time, because that's kind of what happened to me, and that was like 20 years ago, is that we already know. It's almost like we already know it, but we just have to remember it. And that's, I think, what the driving force is. It's like, oh, I already know this somewhere in my soul, but now I have to relearn it or remember it so that I can live it now.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
I really believe in that. I knew it was like a really strong calling for me because actually at the time I was just starting to date my boyfriend. We've been together for 18 years now, but that was like the beginning. And
Wow.
he was like, Reiki, he didn't even know what Reiki was. He was just like, you're going to a cult, you're going to a devil. And
Mm,
so he wouldn't talk to me when I went to these classes. But I just knew that I needed to go. And this was like I didn't know mission purpose at the time. I didn't know anything of that. But I knew it was something that I had to do. And I was like, okay, then don't talk to me. I'm gonna go. And eventually I didn't ever push it on him. Eventually he just accepted. I never talked about it. Yeah.
right. Yeah. Well, we work on ourselves, and then your
Yes.
vibration changes, and then the people around you change by default. They don't really have a
Exactly.
choice. They have
Yes.
to
Yeah.
come.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
either have to come along, or they're gonna just go do something else. So
Yes.
awesome. That's fantastic. So when did you come back to tarot? Like, how did that? Did you come back around and just go back to studying and learning experientially?
Yeah, I did. I actually I started doing like tarot classes and taking tarot classes, and I had those note cards. I made note cards. I know it was a whole thing I was like committed to. And I think what really worked for me was when I did more intuitive tarot. So
Mm,
I did intuitive tarot first, and I would look at the picture and see what stood out to me. And then I would go to the guidebook and read. And a lot of times I'd be like, oh, that's exactly what I got. And I think it affirmed my reading and my skill more when I did it to my friends. And I was like, let me give you a reading. And I would do a reading, and then it would come true. Or they'd be like, yeah, that's exactly it. Then I'd be like, wow, I know tarot now a little better. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Gain confidence doing that.
Yes.
So awesome. So what were the tarot decks that you were using? Just curious.
So I think the first deck that I remember, it was some fairy deck. I don't remember what it was. But the one that I was using, like when I really learned for everyone, was the Gummy Bear Tarot from US Games. That one was so, I think it's like the traditional Rider Waite Smith,
Yeah.
but also it was so cute, and I just really resonated with it, and I could get answers from it like that. And I really only had that one little deck. That was all I used.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And we've been publishing that for a lot of years now. So, and it's still super popular. So I think that's awesome that that was the deck
I
that
still have it, I think, somewhere.
that really, like, jump started
Yeah.
your thing. So tell us about your obviously you're a prolific author, creator, um magical being. And so how did you get started? Was it started writing the decks, or did you start with books, or were you doing both in tandem? How did that start for you?
So I think I always wanted to create a deck because I think in like 2000 something, I tried to create this Moon Tarot deck, but it only had 24 cards. I didn't know what I was doing, by the way. And obviously it didn't go anywhere, but I think that was like a start. And then in 2018, that's when I partnered up with my ex business partner, and she was with Llewellyn. And so she actually helped me create my first deck, Crystal Unicorn Tarot, which was self published. And so that did really well, actually. It went like worldwide. Like Japan bought like 500 from me every 3 months. It was crazy, that deck. And it's similar to Caticorn, though, the
Yeah.
energy, the vibe. And then I was like, okay, I think I want to do more of this. And so that's when Witchling Academy Tarot came. And my business partner at the time kind of got me into Llewellyn. I think I got really lucky because the artwork, we came in with an artist, and she was only 19 years old, and her artwork wasn't there yet, but somehow we got in, and her art grew better as we almost got canceled, seriously, because she couldn't do backgrounds because she was like a manga artist and they only really do characters. And so I actually had to like teach her how to draw like the leaves. I'd be like, no, it has to be different color, different shapes. It was crazy.
Oh,
It was
wow.
such a crazy project. But she is so good. She was going to university in Canada for art too. And she just like grew so much in like a month and 2 weeks. And yeah, that's how I got into publishing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Amazing story. I mean, so we first met, I think it was like 2 years ago, right? In
Yeah, was it
person.
new?
Yeah, out in
Yeah.
the Northwestern Tarot Symposium. And so it just was like so much fun to meet you guys because I know Jen through US Games also. And
Yes.
anyhow, they're just the cutest, the
Thank
like
you.
duo. And then Jen's husband is a doll. So um, I think that was like, a lot of things going on there. And you probably were right in the midst of creating this, or it was, already there at that point. It was already
I think
coming
it was
together.
being created because, well, first I was like, okay, I might self-publish it, but so I gave the artist Delphine Dion. She's from France,
Hmm.
and I actually really was hoping, like, I had this in mind with her as the artist because I was stalking her for a while, and I was like, okay, I hope she takes it, and then she, I guess like painting 78 cards is a lot. It's a
Hmm.
big thing for artists.
Hmm.
So I gave her as much time as she needs and it was really, flexible. And so I think she was creating at that time and by the time I pitched it to US Games, everything was already done. So everything was or she was done, I was done writing, and so it was just like a full package.
Yeah, and so darn cute. Like, and we were all like, "Oh, we love this. It's so cute." So, for those of you who are cat lovers, tarot lovers, unicorn lovers, I want you to talk about unicorn a little bit more because I know that's it's something that that you really identify with. But um, I what I really love about this deck is that it's really lighthearted, and while it has, it parallels the Rider-Waite system,
Yes.
it could be used by young people, teens, it really anybody could be using it, and I think it's helping to dispel some of that thing of tarot that feels off-putting to people that want to come in and learn, but they're a little wary about some of the imagery. So I just love that this is like a it can be like a really safe place for people to enter and to learn about, to learn about the system and to learn about the archetypes and, the suits and all those things. And, and to be like, oh, I love this because the images are so cute. For instance, the book cover,
Yeah.
this is the this is the hangman. So, rather than being like, oh my God, because, whenever you pull the hangman, you're like, now what? It's kind of one of those reactions. I just thought, oh my God, he's so darn cute hanging off of that branch. And so it just like gives you that, lets you expand the meaning of like, oh, take a different perspective, right? Look at things from a different point of view or whatnot. So anyhow,
Yeah.
thank you. My feeling about it. But tell me what you guys put it together. It all came in. Did it happen really fast? It seems like it happened fast.
So the idea and the writing of the guidebook was fast for me. She actually took a while to do the art. I feel like 2 years. She
Okay.
was
Yeah.
creating, so it was like I get like
Yeah.
5 cards every few months, and it was coming in. But I think that I did give her the art descriptions, and I made sure that she did look at the traditional because some artists don't do like she doesn't do tarot, but I wanted
Right.
to make sure that a lot of the symbols were still there, and so she did take a look at that too, and her artwork was just amazing. I hardly had to edit anything, and when we sent it to US Games, then it all came really fast. I love the cat font. Like that is
Yeah.
one of my and
Really
like
cute.
the
Super cute.
paws on the it's like
Yeah.
one of my
On the back,
favorites.
like the
It's
underside.
so
They,
cute.
they've been doing some really, really amazing,
Yeah.
little features on the boxes, like
I
little
love the size.
pieces. Yeah. And the side.
It's a great Yes, yes.
It's funny because I pulled a goddess this morning. I was just playing around on my bookshelf, which I'm sure is like your bookshelf, which is just like filled with a
It's
massive. One day I'll just do a podcast on my bookshelf of all the card decks that I have. But I was like, oh, I need a goddess card this morning, so I have the goddess oracle, which has been around for years and years, and I pulled the boss card, the Egyptian cat, and the message on that card was play, and I thought, oh, I'm going to be talking to Pam today, and of course
cool.
it's going to be really fun to talk to you. And then of course I pulled a card from your deck before we started, and I pulled Three of Cups.
Three of Cups. Oh,
So yeah,
you know,
so it's just like, it's just like a party day, really.
we actually
um
have a Bass and Sakmet temple here in Vegas, like a little one. Yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah,
So
I'll have to come
perfectly.
and visit that next time.
The
Yeah,
cards actually don't give me a good reading. I always get like 10 of swords. Like I get them
that's
with this
funny.
deck. Yeah.
Wow, I don't know. And then the card back is super cute, and
The card
it's
is
like a
back is cute.
watercolor with the cats floating around it. So very, very inspired. Tell the listeners and the watchers about unicorns, and just your association with that
So actually,
magical being.
yeah, so actually for a long time I was mermaid. I was like mermaid, 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 and I think that's probably because of a past life in Atlantis. But then I was like, wait a minute, I don't even like the beach. I don't think I'm a mermaid. And so then I don't know how unicorns came up, but I do believe that I think it was like during a meditation or something, and then I met my unicorn guide, and I was like, whoa, unicorns. And I just started to like identify and like connect and feel the energies of the unicorns, which is like really majestic, really healing, really graceful. And so I was like, okay, unicorns. And I love the forest. I do love forest. And
Mm.
then the Crystal Unicorn Tarot came, and it was, I think I was in a healing session. Someone was doing healing on me. And like, I just got like the Crystal Unicorn Forest, and like all these downloads came in. And so that was how that deck was created. Basically, there was no unicorn deck at the time. And I
Okay.
was like, I need a unicorn tarot. I was like, I need one for
Yeah.
myself. And we actually just started our online crystal business back then. So I was like, oh, crystals and unicorn, they fit really well together. And so that's how, that whole unicorn thing started. And ever since then, I just really feel like they've been guiding me through
I
my
love
journey.
it. I think it's interesting because there was a very, very skilled sculptor that came years ago to IMATS, which was a spiritual new age trade show, and it was mostly angelic sculptures and things that they made, but they did have these little unicorns. And I remember chatting with the artist and saying, well, how do you know who's going to choose what? Or I don't know, we were just talking about what attracts people. And he said, well, I am clairvoyant and I can see the unicorns coming with the people. So the people that
Wow.
have the unicorns have a unicorn. So I was like across the hall, across the floor from him. So I was like, the next unicorn person that comes, I want you to wave because I want to see I want to see if I could see the unicorn. I was just so fascinated with that. He said that's the only clairvoyant thing that he really got. The angelic people, they knew who
Wow.
was guiding them. Yeah, isn't that cool? But
Yeah.
I never forgot that. He said the unicorn people. So you probably have a unicorn standing behind you is the truth of the matter.
Yes. And
Right?
I did a lot of past life regressions, and I did get a message that I was never a unicorn, but I was friends of a unicorn. So I was friends with a unicorn, and they are my guides, but I was never a unicorn.
Okay. I
Yeah.
love that. It's a beautiful symbol for you, definitely, because you're so colorful. And I know that, manifesting and abundance are, two of the keywords that I would associate with you. I get, we're social media friends, and
Yes.
I get your emails and things. And those are two things that I, kind of work in my own way, through the
Hmm.
practices that I do and the teaching that I do. So can you, maybe what would you share with the listeners? Maybe people that are listening or watching that have a spark of an idea or something that they feel compelled to create. What would you, what piece of wisdom would you offer them?
Yes, so I would say try it, right? If you try it and it doesn't work out, that's okay. You can do something else and never think that you're too old or it's too late for it because I actually had that before. I thought it was too late for me to do anything because I didn't go to college, I didn't do, anything in my life and I was just working and I was like, wow, I can't accomplish anything and I was only like 22 at the time, I think. But I had that doubt in my mind that it was always too late until I switched it. And that's when opportunity started to show up because I welcomed it into my life. And also take your time. There really is no rush. And so I think, the decks, I used to rush things, right? And I think, I allowed myself to go with because, deck creation, it has its own timing. And so creating decks and books actually taught me how to be patient, to just sit back and surrender and receive, right? I think these creations come into us because it does wants to be expressed in the world. And sometimes a lot of you probably get so many ideas and you need to be aware of what is aligned to your goals right now. Right? It's not like all ideas are great, but what can you do now that takes you to the next step so that you can create the next bigger thing? Because I know in publishing, right, if you're starting in the beginning as a new publisher or author, you probably want to submit something that is more general and not too specific because nobody really knows you yet. And then as you grow in your audience and your writing, then you can do more stuff that's really your passion,
I love it. It's great advice. Absolutely great advice. And I will just add on top of that. I couldn't concur more about being patient because you're right. These products, these are like living, breathing entities that have their own timeline and their own, kind of birth
Yeah.
into the world. So, and I can tell you that as somebody who has worked on the inside and was creating, it was like, where's my project? And they were like, it's coming. So I did have to learn and cultivate a lot of patience in that. And also, as you said, to slow down and just to let the process unfold because, you're different, in each of these stages. And it might be something is not, the universe hasn't brought it
Yeah.
to you yet. There might be some idea that has to come in. So um, I love to hear what other people have to say and when it aligns with exactly what I've experienced. We know we're all kind of in the matrix of creation, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. And I think if you feel stuck, I would work on so actually the decks that I publish is not the decks that I work on. So I would be working on something and then like this idea comes and then I was like and then you kind of feel well now I know. Now I feel it like oh this is the one and then I'll switch over to that one. But I think you just have to keep moving, right? Keep trying, keep doing stuff and then the right one will just land and don't give up.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to fail. I mean, it's
Yeah.
always like a beginner's mindset every time to go back again and just to say, I'm going to have the beginner's mindset again. And I'm
Yes.
just going to see what comes through. And if I'm not really feeling it, I've been in development of a few things where we were really getting into the outline and we were like, we're not feeling this. This has to get revamped. And it just turned out so much for the better. So it's like, listen to your intuition, right?
Yeah.
Listen to the
Yeah.
inner voice.
And I think if you don't know something, it doesn't mean you can't do it. You can learn how to do it because I actually didn't know how to write. I learned how to write for my business online, like emails and posts, and that's how I learned how to write. Because in Hawaii, we didn't have like English. I don't remember writing an essay. And so I learned how to write through business. And of course, I did get, a mentor to help me write decks because at the time I wasn't writing tarot. There's a specific way to actually
Mhm.
write tarot. And I was just writing the story of what the deck is, but I wasn't referring it to tarot. So there was a lot of things I had to learn.
Mhm. Awesome. Well, you just did an amazing job.
Thank you.
I'm curious to ask you how does your Buddhist family, feel about all the things that you've created? Is it to
Yeah.
sit with them?
So I don't really talk to my family that much. I moved out when I was 16. My mom actually left to Taiwan when I was in third grade. And so they're actually very open though. And my cousins, they're very supportive. And they actually ask me for readings sometimes, or they do buy my stuff. And so they're really supportive. They're really open. I remember once in high school, because there's a lot of Mormons in Hawaii actually, and all my friends were. So I used to go to like church with them. And they did give me a Bible and I couldn't throw it away. So I like kept it, the Book of Mormon. And I think my grandma found it at the time when I was still at home. And so like my mom called me and they were like, it's okay if you want to be Mormon. I was like, no, this is just, this is just the book. I'm like still open. I believe in all. I think there's truth in like all stories.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
That's a great way to look at it, but that's funny that they found the Bible there and were
Yeah.
giving you permission, right, to move
They were giving
on.
me permission. Yeah. Hmm.
So
And
yeah, go ahead.
no, I
Yeah.
was just remembering the story because this past New Year's, I was talking to, at Chinese New Year's, I called them my grandma, my auntie, and my cousins, and and my auntie was like, she kept pushing crystal bowls on me because she knew I was doing something spiritual, magical, and that's why she knew because this Taiwan lady did it. She's like, you need to sell crystal bowls. I was like, okay, auntie.
Yeah. They want to get into the act, right? Like, well, okay,
She was like,
we could start a musical business.
yeah, she's like, you need to sell these bowls. This lady makes so much money. I was like, okay, auntie.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So, what's really interesting is that Taiwan, Korea, China, really big markets for tarot
In
these
Japan,
days.
is Japan big?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's really being embraced, all over the world, but in some places, really like there's a lot of fire behind it. People are really, really, ambitious about learning and collecting and all of that stuff. So, right place, right timing, right?
Yes.
For cute Caticorn also to
They
be out
love
there.
these. Yeah, they love
Yes.
these
Yeah.
decks. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. I love it for you. So I always like to ask people that I talk to, and I already know some of these fun facts about you, so I'm gonna let you choose. But a special talent or fun fact that people might not necessarily know about you, who use your decks or come to your courses or see you on social media, something that you're willing to share.
So a fun fact. Okay, so I used to work in the Vegas casinos for 15 years as a dealer. And so I was actually in a lot of, not a lot, but I was in some like movies and stuff because I worked at the casino because they needed someone. So I'm in Jason Statham's, it was called Wild Card, that movie where they're walking by the roulette
Uh-huh.
table and then there's a blackjack dealer in the back that's blonde. Like I'm really blurred out, but that's me. And in Jonas Brothers music video, I think it's like First Kiss, First Love, First Time, shot in Vegas at Planet Hollywood. And I'm the one pushing out the roulette chips. Like you can actually see my face then, pushing out the roulette chips to them and that. Yeah.
Awesome. I love that. I'm gonna have to go look for those now. Yeah,
Yeah. It's like,
I
oh,
love it.
that's me. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. So just give us a little nails and hair. I always think about Pam. She's got the
Oh,
cutest. She always has like the
these are
cutest
called junk
nails.
nails. So you just like dump everything in the world on them, and they're called junk
Oh my
nails.
goodness.
Yeah.
Can you type with those?
Yeah,
How do you do your phone? You can?
oh yes, I type. Yeah,
Yeah, you can
I
do your
type
oh
and
yeah, with your thumbs.
I type all my manuscripts with nails.
I love it. I love it. And she always has the cutest hair. And so like give us a little preview. Oh, we have a little purple going here.
Yep. So I
And
did a color analysis in Korea. It's really popular, but there was a lady in Vegas who does it. And so she like your winter, summer, or spring or whatever. And so these are all my colors that are good for me. And so I just gave them to my hairstylist and she was like, okay. And I guess she just dumped them all in, in my hair.
it's beautiful. So I
Thank you.
mean, so what I really want to say to especially to the people who will watch this visually is that, everything that we, surround ourselves with becomes part of like our, our auric field or that imprint of who we are. So anyhow, when I look at you, I just see like magical being. And so I just love that, you know, all the bells and whistles of
Thank
your
you.
magicalness.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Sometimes I do color
So
magic. So I'll either pick the colors for my nails or something that represents what I'm calling in, or the colors of my hair if I really want to embody an energy.
awesome. So we will post your website and your social
Thank you.
media handle. So if people want to reach out to you and connect,
Yeah.
and highly recommend checking out the Caticorn Tarot by Pam Chen and Delphine Dion. So Delphine, hopefully you'll get to see this too and acknowledged for all your hard work. I know how long it takes to paint.
Yeah.
For someone to paint 78 images, it's definitely a work from the heart. It is such a pleasure to talk to you today. Thanks for coming on, Pam.
Thank you,
And
Allison. Thanks, everyone.
bye.
Bye.